Hey guys, so today I'm reviewing Map of Days by Ransom. Now this is the fourth book, not including Tales of the Peculiar, in the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series. I was super excited to get this. Back in November 2018 I went to Ransom Riggs event in London and I got this copy along with some goodies. I will link that vlog if you would like to see it. But yes, this is continuing on with the story of Miss Peregrine's wards and Jacob and just everything. So obviously please do not watch this if you have not read anything up until here. Check out some of my other videos as well if you have. Let me know what you're thinking. So yeah, I'm going to assume you followed along with the story until now. So this is not going to be spoilery, so if you haven't read this one but you've read the others, it should be fine for you to watch. So let me just read you the synopsis because it can explain itself much better than I can try. So a brave new world, unimaginable new dangers, an adventure that has only just begun. I've just realised my telly is still talking. That's awkward. I've already filmed a review and I hope you can't hear the sound of the TV in the background. An adventure that has only just begun. Having defeated the monstrous threat that nearly destroyed the peculiar world, Jacob Portman is back where his story began in Florida. Except now Miss Peregrine, Emma and their peculiar friends are with him and doing their best to blend in. But carefree days of beach visits and normaling lessons are soon interrupted by a discovery. A subterranean bunker that belonged to Jacob's grandfather Abe. Clues to Abe's double life as a peculiar operative start to emerge, secrets long hidden in plain sight. And Jacob begins to learn about the dangerous legacy he has inherited, truths that were part of him long before he walked into Miss Peregrine's time loop. Now the stakes are higher than ever as Jacob and his friends are thrust into the untamed landscape of American peculiardom, a world with few imprints or rules that none of them yet understand. New wonders and dangers await in this brilliant next chapter for Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children. The story is again illustrated throughout by haunting vintage photographs, but with a striking addition for this new adventure: full colour. Absolutely loved the colour. And I got mine signed. Way! So having read like the first chapter in a little sampler, I found this really easy to get back into the swing of things. I think I've mentioned before, at least for the very first book, I found it quite dense and a bit difficult to get into the reading flow of it. But this one has got to be like the most easiest read from the series so far. I don't know if it's just because I'm established in the world already or if the writing is just more palatable for me now. But yeah, the flow of it was great. So one of the main things about the plot of Map of Days is that we're kind of on like a road trip, and I thought that was so amazing to see some of the characters in a complete different setting. Obviously they're in America as the synopsis says, and they're doing like a kind of a tour of it to, you know, it's for the plot of the story, but just seeing them in different settings like that and kind of giving them an opportunity to express themselves in a different way was really interesting. It also sparked a rise, well, not only the road trip, but the plot in itself sparked there to be sort of changes within the dynamics of the relationships of Miss Peregrine's wards, between Miss Peregrine, between Jacob, all these new discoveries that they had found, and perhaps some of the feelings that weren't properly talked through in the last book after the big finale there, kind of had cracks sort of swimming to the surface of this story, and certain characters just broke. Some relationships just completely went AWire, others grew even more. It was crazy, and I liked seeing that change there. I know that sounds really crazy, but the change there allowed their character to grow into complete different things than I would expect them. They showed different personality traits than I would have expected for certain characters, and I don't know, it just fleshed them out that little bit more. The other sort of concept I would say was that we touched a little bit on like human trafficking, slavery, politics, and how all of like the real world, not the real world, but the mortal world, and all their differences in terms of those things reflected quite perfectly within peculiardom. Like they were doing all those things as well, especially when you're seeing them through seeing time loops or something, for example. stuck in different time periods, obviously. Certain things are happening. So I just thought the way Ransom Riggs handled that was done really well. He obviously had an interesting spin in terms of plot development using those topics, but he did it quite tactfully, quite well done. And I was left impressed with how the story was going, to be honest. I'd say one thing that annoyed me was the trope that, you know, when I don't know if I mentioned this in my trope video, but I probably forgot, but when the convenience of parents being out of the picture is used, that really bothers me. In saying that, there was a bit of a scuffle, there was a bit of a fight, and you know, there was discussion surrounding that, if that makes sense. But ultimately the parents were out of the way. You know, it made it easy for the kids to run around wild, and I just thought that's too convenient. It's not realistic enough. But that's like my only main gripe, I guess. So yeah, I really did enjoy this story. I'm so excited to see how the plot develops within the next book, because although this was originally like a trilogy, I think it's going to have quite a lot of books extended into this now. We also, at the back of this, get a little what could have been scenes, which I thought were really entertaining and really fun. And it was just nice to see exactly what could have been if the story had gone a different way, and perhaps if Riggs discarded this particular draft, we could have had that. It was just very interesting to see. But yes, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of the Map of Days book if you've read it. Did you go to any of Ransom Riggs's book tours? Let me know, I'd love to hear. And yeah, I'll speak to you in another video soon. Bye.